I say the right of a state to annul a law of Congress cannot be maintained but on the ground of the inalienable right of man to resist oppression. That is to say, upon the ground of revolution. I admit that there is an ultimate violent remedy above the Constitution and in defiance of the Constitution, which may be resorted to when a revolution is to be justified. But I do not admit that under the Constitution and in conformity with it, there is any mode in which a state government as a member of the Union can interfere and stop the progress of the general government by force of her own laws under any circumstance whatever. Daniel Webster. Speech on Liberty and Union, January 26, 1830. January 26, 1830. This absurdity, for it seems no less, arises from a misconception as to the origin of this government and its true character. It is, sir, the people's constitution, the people's government, made for the people, made by the people, and answerable to the people. For, by, to, of, by, and for the people. The people of the United States have declared that this Constitution shall be the supreme law. We must either admit the proposition or dispute their authority. The states are unquestionably sovereign, so far as their sovereignty is not affected by the supreme law, but the state legislatures as political bodies, however sovereign, are yet not sovereign over the people. So far as the people have given power to the general government, so far the grant is unquestionably good, and the government holds of the people, not of the state governments. We are all agents of the same supreme power, the people. The general government and the state governments derive their authority from the same source. Neither can, in relation to the other, be called primary, though one is definite and restricted and the other general and residuary. The national government possesses those powers which it can be shown the people have conferred on it, and no more. All the rest belongs to the state governments or to the people themselves. So far as the people have restrained state sovereignty by the expression of their will in the Constitution of the United States, so far it must be admitted state sovereignty is effectually controlled. I must now beg to ask, sir, whence is this supposed right of the states derived? Whence is this supposed right of the states derived? Where do they find the power to interfere with the laws of the Union? Sir, the opinion which the honorable gentleman maintains is a notion founded in a total misapprehension in my judgment of the origin of this government and of the foundation on which it stands. I hold it to be a popular government erected by the people, those who administer it, responsible to the people, and itself capable of being amended and modified just as the people may choose. It should be as it is as popular, just as truly emanating from the people as the state governments. It is created for one purpose, the state governments for another. It has its own powers, they have theirs. There is no more authority than them to arrest the operation of a law of Congress than with Congress to arrest the operation of their laws. We are here to administer a constitution emanating immediately from the people, entrusted by them to our administration. It is not the creature of the state governments. This government, sir, is the independent offspring of the popular will. It is not the creature of state legislatures. Nay, more, if the whole truth must be told, the people brought it into existence, established it, and have hitherto supported it for the very purpose, among others, of imposing certain salutary restraints on state sovereignties. The states cannot now make war. They cannot contract alliances. They cannot make, each for itself, separate regulations of commerce. They cannot lay imposts. They cannot coin money. If this Constitution, sir, be the creature of state legislatures, it must be admitted that it has obtained a strange control over the volitions of its creators. The people then, sir, erected this government. The people gave it a constitution, and in that constitution they have enumerated the powers which they bestow on it. They have made it a limited government. They have defined its authority. They have restrained it to the exercise of such powers as are granted. And all others, they declare, are reserved to the states or the people. But, sir, they have not stopped here. If they had, they would have accomplished but half their work. No definition can be so clear as to avoid possibility of doubt, but no limitation so precise as to exclude all uncertainty. Who then shall construe this grant of the people? Who shall interpret their will? Where it may be supposed they have left it doubtful. With whom do they repose this ultimate right of deciding on the powers of the government, sir? They have settled all this in the fullest manner. They have left it with the government itself in its appropriate branches. The Constitution has itself pointed out, ordained, and established that authority. How has it accomplished this great and essential end? By declaring, sir, that the Constitution and the laws of the United States made in pursuance thereof shall be the supreme law of the land. Anything in the Constitution or laws of any state to the contrary notwithstanding, this, sir, was the great first step. By this, the supremacy of the Constitution and laws of the United States is declared. The people so will it. No state law is to be valid which comes in conflict with the Constitution. No state law is to be valid which comes into conflict with the Constitution or any law of the United States passed in pursuance of it. But who shall decide this question of interference? To whom lies the last appeal? This, sir, the Constitution itself decides also by declaring that the judicial power shall extend to all cases arising under the Constitution and laws of the United States. These two provisions cover the whole ground. They are in truth the keystone of the ark. With these, they are in truth the keystone of the ark, of the arch, the keystone of the arch. With these, it is a government. Without them, it is a confederation. In pursuance of these clear and express provisions, Congress established at its very first session in the Judicial Act a mode for carrying them into full effect and for bringing all questions of constitutional power to the final decision of the Supreme Court. It then, sir, became a government. It then had the means of self-protection. But for this, it would, in all probability, have been now among things which are past. Sir, I deny this power of state Sir, I deny this power of state legislatures altogether. It cannot stand the test of examination. Gentlemen may say that in an extreme case, a state government might protect the people from intolerable oppression. Sir, in such a case, the people might protect themselves without the aid of the state government. Such a case warrants revolution. It must make, when it comes a law for itself, a nullifying act of a state legislature cannot alter the case, nor make resistance any more lawful. And now, Mr. President, let me run the honorable gentleman's doctrine a little into its practical application. Let us look at his probable modus operandi. If a thing can be done, an ingenious man can tell how it is to be done, and I wish to be informed how this state interference is to be put in practice without violence, bloodshed, and rebellion. Direct collision between force and force is the unavoidable result of that remedy for the revision of unconstitutional laws which the gentleman contends for. It must happen in the very first case to which it is applied. Is not this the plain result? To resist by force the execution of a law generally is treason. Can the courts of the United States take notice of the indulgence of a state to commit treason? The common saying that a state cannot commit treason herself is nothing to the purpose. Can she authorize others to do it? If John Fries had produced an act of Pennsylvania annulling the law of Congress, would it have helped his case? Talk about it as we will, these doctrines go the length of revolution. They are incompatible with any peaceable administration of the government. They lead directly to disunion and civil commotion. And therefore it is that at their commencement, when they are first found to be maintained by respectable men and in a tangible form, I enter my public protest against them all. The people have preserved this, their own chosen constitution, for 40 years. It's 1830, so it's 1790. It is only 40 years old at the time. And have seen their happiness, prosperity, and renown grow with its growth and strengthen with its strength. They are now generally strongly attached to it, overthrown by direct assault. It cannot be evaded, undermined, nullified. It will not be if we and those who shall succeed us here as agents and representatives of the people shall conscientiously and vigilantly discharge the two great branches of our public trust, faithfully to preserve and wisely to administer it. I have not allowed myself, sir, to look beyond the Union to see what might be hidden in the dark recess behind. I have not coolly weighed the chances of preserving liberty when the bonds that unite us together shall be broken asunder. I have not accustomed myself to hang over the precipice of disunion to see whether, with my short sight, I could fathom the depth of the abyss below, nor could I regard him as a safe counselor in the affairs in this government, whose thoughts should be mainly bent on considering not how the Union may be best preserved, but how tolerable might be the condition of the people when it should be broken up and destroyed. While the Union lasts, we have high, exciting, gratifying prospects spread out before us, for us and our children. Beyond that I seek not to penetrate the veil. Beyond that I seek not to penetrate the veil. God grant that in my day at least that curtain may not rise. God grant that on my vision never may be opened what lies behind, when my eyes shall be turned to behold for the last time the sun in heaven. May I not see him shining on the broken and dishonored fragments of a once glorious union, on states dissevered, discordant, belligerent, on a land rent with civil feuds, or drenched it may be in fraternal blood. In fraternal blood let their last feeble and lingering glance rather behold the gorgeous ensign of the republic, now known and honored throughout the earth, still full high advanced, its arms and trophies streaming in their original luster, not a stripe erased or polluted, nor a single star obscured, bearing for its motto no such miserable interrogatory as what is all this worth, nor those other words of delusion and folly, liberty first and union afterwards, but everywhere spread all over in characters of living light, blazing on all its ample folds as they flowed over the sea and over the land, and in every wind under the whole heavens, that other sentiment dear to every true American heart, liberty and union, now and forever, one and inseparable. Liberty and union. You know, I believe in a lot of these. I'd fight a revolution for the Constitution. I'd fight a revolution for federalism. I'd fight a revolution for the Bill of Rights. I'd fight a revolution for the three branches of government, for all these combined. The Bill of Rights by themselves. But all these are checks and balances to prevent tyranny. We have a federalist system. We got 50 states that'll check the king, the elected king, the presidency. We got elections. You have to get elected. You got to convince people to. Then you have the judicial branch and the legislative branch. And then you have the Constitution that you got to listen to. And then the individual rights of the people you can't infringe upon. And then you got the 50 states that could check you. You got a lot of checks. A lot of checks and balances in a democratic republic. We're going to stop tyranny here. One motherfucking asshole. He's a selfish bitch and he only wants to do what is best for himself. But if we have people checking other people, if you have one person who polices the police, the police police the police. That's who polices the police. And who polices them? The police. Maybe a citizen cop. Throw a citizen cop at the top or something. I don't know. But that's the whole idea of the three branches of government, is that they're going to be a bunch of selfish assholes and they're going to jealously guard their authority, but they're going to go past their authority, and that's why you need the other two branches to check them. That's why you need the people. That's why you need a federalist system. That's why you need a Bill of Rights and a Constitution and elections. So I'd fight a revolution for elections. I'd fight a revolution for a Constitution, both the Colorado and the American Constitution, and for the Bill of Rights, both Colorado's and America's Bill of Rights. I'd fight a revolution for the Bill of Rights. I'd fight a revolution for federalism, elections. I just want to make sure I covered them all. Federalism, elections, Constitution, Bill of Rights, three branches of government. I feel like I'm missing one. And the one that I'm missing. Got a little thing here at the top. In response to Vice President John C. Calhoun's protest that states could protect their liberty by resisting federal laws that they deemed unconstitutional, Daniel Webster gave this blistering defense of the constitutional supremacy of the Union over the individual states. This controversy was spurred when representatives from South Carolina passionately resisted the tariff of 1828. You see, the damn Union just keeps on pushing these tariffs on us because they believed it would raise their planters' costs for the sole benefit of northern states. As you read Webster's speech, consider how he answered Calhoun's charge that a powerful central government would trample on the liberty of the individual states. In 8th grade, my middle school history teacher wrote states' rights on the chalkboard. That's what the Civil War is all about, states' rights. I don't care if we got freedom or not, as long as my state has the freedom to speak. States' rights. Fucking ask a neo-Confederate today if they even know who the damn governor, let alone Secretary of State is. Who's your Attorney General there, motherfucking states' rights motherfuckers? Y'all a bunch of states' rights motherfuckers. And then now you got the right-wing sovereign movement that's against all U.S. states. You guys are just making up shit. Did you even read the Constitution? Motherfucker, I'd like to live in a world where Americans read the Constitution and the Bill of Rights and we say, okay, here's the republic that we're creating. Wouldn't that be something if we like read the laws and we all got together and we all cared about living by the rules and wouldn't that be nice? Where do you go to do something like that? Daniel Webster on Liberty and Union, January 26, 1830.